Chizy's new life with Akuchi seemed perfect at first, but unsettling events soon began to unfold. As she uncovered strange secrets and faced unexpected dangers, she realized her faith and courage would be tested like never before. A long time ago, in a peaceful village close to a city in the east of Nigeria, there was a wealthy man called Akuchi. He lived in a big house that had a high fence and a security man at the gate. The villagers had always known Akuchi as a man filled with violence and deceit. Behind his charming words, he hid a dark cruelty, especially toward his wives. His first wife had suffered endlessly under his hand until she died, rumors hinting that it was the relentless beatings that had taken her life. But Akuchi was clever, skilled in the art of deception. He painted a different story to everyone he met, a tale of a devoted husband grieving a tragic loss. But after her death, Akuchi's nights grew darker. His dreams were haunted by the vision of his late wife, her face pale and her eyes hollow. Every night he'd wake up in a cold sweat, feeling her presence beside him, like a shadow he couldn't escape. He tried to ignore it, but the dreams only became worse, invading his sleep and leaving him restless. Her spirit gave him no peace, lingering in every corner of his home, her silent gaze filled with accusation. It was as if her spirit had returned to torment him for his cruelty. Desperate for relief, Akuchi sought out a powerful spiritualist. He hoped that some ritual or incantation would free him from his late wife's ghostly grip. The spiritualist listened carefully to Akuchi's tale of torment and then delivered his judgment. Your wife's spirit is bound to you because of the pain you caused her. To rid yourself of her, you must find a virgin bride who is pure in heart and sacrifice her. Only then will her spirit leave you in peace. Armed with this twisted advice, Akuchi set his sights on his next victim. This time, he wanted someone devout, a godly woman whose pure spirit would satisfy the demands of the ritual. He soon learned about Chizy, a beautiful young woman in a charismatic church in a nearby town who was known for her kindness and faith. Akuchi began attending services, putting on an air of piety that hid his true intentions. With the help of charms and his practiced charm, he would win Chizy's heart in no time. Akuchi walked into the church with an air of humility, blending seamlessly with the congregation. His well-tailored suit and soft-spoken demeanor earned him smiles from the women and approving nods from the men. To everyone, he appeared to be a God-fearing man searching for a wife to build a Christian home, but Akuchi's intentions were far from pure. After the service, Akuchi lingered near the refreshments table, observing the congregation. His sharp eyes fell on Chizy, a modestly dressed young woman with a serene presence. She moved with grace, her head slightly bowed, radiating a quiet confidence that intrigued him. He approached an older woman standing nearby, Sister Ozzy, who seemed to know everyone in the church. With calculated politeness, Akuchi struck up a conversation. "Good afternoon, Ma." The service was truly uplifting. He began, his voice smooth and respectful. Ozzy smiled warmly. "It was, my brother. God is good." "Yes, he is," Akuchi replied, glancing discreetly in Chizy's direction. "I couldn't help but notice that young lady over there. She seems different, very reserved. Do you know her?" Ozzy's face lit up. That's Chizy, a very good girl, raised in a God-fearing home. She's one of the most respected young women in this church." Akuchi feigned curiosity. Really? She seems so grounded. I imagine her parents must be proud." "They are," Ozzy confirmed, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. "She's kept herself pure too. In this world, finding a young woman who values her chastity is rare, but Chizy has remained steadfast." Akuchi's lips curved into a faint smile. "That's admirable," he said, masking the wicked thoughts brewing in his mind. "She's also very humble," Ngozi continued, "always helping with church activities, a true gem. Are you interested in getting to know her?" Akuchi nodded, pretending to be shy. Perhaps a woman like that would make a wonderful wife. Ozzy clapped her hands together, clearly delighted. I can introduce you if you'd like. Chizy deserves a good man. Akuchi hesitated, calculating his next move. Thank you, Ma, but I think I'll take my time. I want to pray about it first. Ozzy smiled approvingly. That's wise. Let the Lord guide you. As Akuchi walked away, his heart raced, not with love, but with the thrill of having found his target. Chizy was everything he needed, pure, kind, and trusting, perfect for his dark ritual. Chizy's family and friends were shocked by the whirlwind romance, but Akuchi made sure his motives seemed genuine. To everyone else, he appeared to be a changed man, finally ready to settle down and build a loving family. Chizy, swept up by his attention, agreed to marry him after a brief courtship, certain that he was a godsend. But the facade crumbled quickly. On their wedding night, an argument broke out. Akuchi demanded that Chizy hand over all her belongings, including her assets and even her monthly salary. When she protested, he locked her in the bathroom as a lesson, the first of many abusive actions that would follow. From that night on, Akuchi's abuse only escalated. He belittled Chizy, constantly controlling her every move, and forbade her from praying or going to church. He wanted to create a prayerless, vulnerable atmosphere where he could carry out his sinister plan without any interference. Over time, Akuchi cut her off from friends and family, leaving her isolated and broken. But what he didn't know was that Chizy's faith ran deep, and even in the dark, she clung to it. She prayed in secret, finding moments of solace in her quiet rebellion. Her faith grew stronger in the face of Akuchi's oppression, and she started seeking ways to escape his control. Meanwhile, Chizy's family and friends noticed her absence. They grew concerned, but every time they asked after her, Akuchi would intercept their messages, claiming that she was busy with work or that she had taken on new responsibilities as his wife. He spun lies so convincing that it kept them at bay for a time. Chizy often found herself longing for the life she once had, the laughter, the love, and the support of her family. She dreamed of the day she could break free from Akuchi's chains and reclaim her life. Her heart ached for connection, and each night she prayed for a way out. Once Akuchi found out Chizy was a good cook, he started inviting his friends home with little or no notice to a meal, and Chizy was expected to cater to them all. He turned her into a maid, and she was not expected to complain. To make matters worse, some of the friends were ladies who stayed over at their home, and it was clear to Chizy that Akuchi was cheating on her. But she was past caring, as there were more important things to worry about. There was an undercurrent of secrecy about Akuchi that Chizy couldn't quite ignore. The large, dimly lit house felt cold, and there were rooms he had strictly forbidden her from entering. It's just old storage, he'd said with a dismissive wave of his hand. One day, while Akuchi was out with his friends, Chizy decided to tidy up the house. As she swept the hallways, her eyes kept drifting to one of the locked rooms. Curiosity gnawed at her. Why would he be so adamant about keeping her out? Her resolve broke. She fetched a spare set of keys Akuchi had hidden in the study. Her hands trembled as she unlocked the door and stepped inside. The air in the room was stale, and a strange metallic scent hung in the air. Chizy's eyes adjusted to the dim light, and what she saw made her blood run cold. In the center of the room was a large wooden table covered in a crimson-stained cloth. Strange symbols were scrawled across the walls, and a large black candle sat on the table, its wax pulled in chaotic shapes. Beside the candle lay an open book with a worn cover, its pages filled with rituals and incantations written in a language Chizy didn't recognize. Her gaze fell on a small frame photograph on the table. It was of a woman, beautiful but with a haunting expression. Beneath the photograph, a piece of paper bore the words, "To appease the spirit of my beloved." Chizy's knees buckled and she clutched the table for support. Her mind raced as the pieces of the puzzle came together. The forbidden rooms, Akuchi's insistence on marrying her quickly, his peculiar behavior, it all made sense now. She turned the page of the ritual book and her breath hitched. There, written in bold, were the requirements for the ritual. A virgin bride, the sacrifice must be made under the new moon to restore balance and peace. Chizy felt the bile rise in her throat. She stumbled backward, her heart pounding. How could the man she thought was her husband have such horrifying plans for her? Her first instinct was to run, but she knew Akuchi would notice if she left abruptly. He could catch her at the door or at the gate on his way back. She needed a plan, a way to escape without arousing his suspicion. With shaking hands, she closed the book and hurriedly locked the room behind her. The discovery changed everything. Chizy knew she had to act quickly to save herself from a fate she couldn't bear to imagine. She started to formulate a plan, seeking small moments of freedom whenever possible. She saved money secretly, planning for the day she would leave. Each time she managed to save some money from the little he gave her for groceries, her heart raced with hope. She could do this. She could leave Akuchi behind. One evening, Chizy finally summoned the courage to confront Akuchi. She told him she would not give him her salary anymore, and the fury that ignited in his eyes terrified her. Akuchi raged, hurling insults and threats her way. It was then that Chizy realized she was standing at a crossroads. She could no longer let fear dictate her life. Chizy's unease grew the day she noticed tiny blinking lights tucked into corners of the house, hidden cameras. She hadn't seen them before, but now they seemed to be everywhere. In the living room, the kitchen, even the hallways leading to the locked rooms. Her heart sank as a chilling thought crept into her mind. What if Akuchi had been watching her every move? What if he had seen her enter the forbidden room? She replayed the moment she had turned the key in the lock, the time she had spent inside, and the haste with which she had left. Had she been too careless? Her every interaction with Akuchi now felt laced with tension, as if he was silently testing her, waiting for her to slip. The cameras turned her once hopeful home into a suffocating prison, and Chizy knew she was running out of time. She found solace in her nightly prayers and in the memories of her family. They had always believed in her strength, and she would not let them down. With every passing day, she felt the urge to escape grow stronger, and she began to strategize her exit. It was a difficult task because of her awareness that Akuchi would follow her every move, with the cameras all over the house, which he monitored regularly, so she had to be very discreet. She packed a few clothes every opportunity she got into a bag she hid in the laundry room. Chizy reached out to a few trusted friends secretly, sharing her story when she was sure Akuchi was asleep. They were horrified by her plight and promised to help her escape. Together, they devised a plan to ensure Chizy could leave safely. On the designated day, she would gather her belongings and slip away unnoticed. The day finally arrived. Akuchi was at work. Chizy returned early and took her bag, her heart pounding with anticipation and fear. She took a deep breath, whispering a prayer for strength, and quietly made her way to the door. Chizy's heart raced as she approached the compound gate, clutching the small bag that held the few belongings she could grab in her haste. The mean security guard, a burly man with a permanent scowl and a loyalty to Akuchi that bordered on fanaticism, blocked her path. "Where do you think you're going, madam?" he sneered, his hand resting ominously on the baton at his side. Chizy's voice trembled, but she forced a smile, masking her fear. "Akuchi sent me to get something from the market," she lied, her mind racing for a way out. The guard's eyes narrowed suspiciously, and he reached for his phone, muttering about calling Akuchi for confirmation. Seizing the moment, Chizy dropped her bag, pretended to trip, and spilled its contents, a few coins, onto the ground. As the guard bent down to pick them up, she darted past him, her feet pounding against the gravel. His shouts echoed behind her, but she didn't look back. The gate was ajar, and with one desperate push, she slipped through and sprinted down the road, her breath ragged, but her determination unyielding. Chizy's friend was in a car waiting and ready to move. The security man ran after Chizy, but she quickly got into the waiting car and they zoomed off. She was free, but freedom was bittersweet. The journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty. She moved in with her friends who welcomed her with open arms. They provided her with the support she desperately needed, and together they began to rebuild her life. In the weeks that followed, Chizy focused on healing from her traumatic experience. She attended counseling sessions, allowing herself to process the pain and reclaim her identity. With the support of her friends, she engaged in activities that brought her joy, such as painting and volunteering at local charities. Chizy felt a renewed sense of purpose and began to dream again. Chizy reconnected with her family, who welcomed her back with open arms. They had worried about her and were relieved to see her free from Akuchi's clutches. Over family dinners, Chizy shared her story, and her parents offered unconditional love and support. Their warmth reminded her that she was not alone in her journey to recovery. After escaping Akuchi's house, Chizy thought she was finally free, but her nights were plagued with terror. Each time she closed her eyes, she found herself in a dark, endless void where whispers of her name echoed around her. Shadows crawled across her room, forming shapes that resembled Akuchi's menacing grin. Objects in her new home would inexplicably move. Her Bible fell off the nightstand one night, landing open to a passage about deliverance. Worse still, she woke up one morning with deep scratches on her arms, though her door and windows were securely locked. A sense of suffocation gripped her during prayers, as though unseen hands were trying to silence her. Determined to fight back, Chizy sought refuge in her church, fasting and praying fervently. The attacks grew more intense, but so did her resolve. Slowly, the darkness began to lift as she leaned on her faith and the support of her church community, determined to break free from Akuchi's sinister grip. With her family's help, Chizy began the process of getting an annulment. Her marriage had not been consummated, as Akuchi had wanted to sacrifice her in her pure state. Her family supported her wholeheartedly, determined to help her escape the nightmare her life had become. As the annulment proceeded, Akuchi was furious but powerless to stop it. Chizy's strength and resilience had caught him off guard, and despite his threats, she had managed to break free. He couldn't get over it. When his threats could not work, he changed tactics. He asked for Chizy's forgiveness with the hope that she would return to him, but she would not be deceived. Akuchi found no peace. His late wife's spirit, now joined by the memories of the pain he had inflicted on Chizy, continued to haunt him. Night after night, he was plagued by visions of those he had wronged. The spiritualist's advice had failed, and he was left to endure the consequences of his actions alone. His wealth and status became meaningless as he was consumed by the darkness he had created. In the months that followed, Chizy began to rebuild her life. She reconnected with her church community, finding comfort in their support. Slowly, she started healing from the trauma she had endured. Her faith remained unshaken, and she became an advocate for women who faced similar situations, determined to help others avoid the fate she had almost succumbed to. The healing process was not easy for Chizy. There were days when the weight of her past felt overwhelming. Chizy would have flashbacks and moments of doubt, but she leaned on her faith to guide her. She started attending support groups for survivors of domestic abuse, finding strength in shared experiences. Each meeting reminded her that she was not alone and that others had overcome similar struggles. While volunteering, Chizy met a group of women who inspired her with their stories of triumph. They encouraged her to explore new opportunities, pushing her to step out of her comfort zone. With their support, Chizy decided to enroll in a community college to further her education. It was a big step, but she felt empowered to chase her dreams. During her time in college, Chizy met a kind-hearted man named Obina. He was intelligent, respectful, and shared her passion for helping others. Their friendship blossomed as they studied together and supported each other in their academic pursuits. Chizy felt a connection with Obina that she hadn't experienced in years, and for the first time, she felt safe opening her heart again. As their friendship deepened, Obina became a source of comfort for Chizy. He encouraged her to share her story and inspired her to use her experiences to help others. Together, they volunteered at local shelters, providing support to those in need. Chizy admired Obina's compassion and strength, and she felt grateful to have someone who understood her journey. One evening, Obina asked Chizy out on a proper date. Nervous but excited, she agreed, and they enjoyed a lovely dinner filled with laughter and heartfelt conversations. Chizy realized that her past no longer haunted her. Instead, she felt hopeful about the future. Obina treated her with respect and kindness, making her feel valued in a way she hadn't experienced before. As their relationship blossomed, Chizy found herself falling for Obina. He was attentive and supportive, always encouraging her to pursue her dreams. Together, they faced challenges and celebrated achievements, creating a bond built on trust and mutual respect. Chizy felt like she had finally found someone who appreciated her for who she was. Chizy eventually opened up to Obina about her past with Akuchi. She shared the pain and trauma she had endured, and to her surprise, Obina listened without judgment. He held her hand, reassuring her that she was not defined by her experiences. Chizy felt a sense of relief as she unloaded her burden, realizing that she was finally free to be herself. Despite her growing love for Obina, Chizy struggled with fears of intimacy and vulnerability. Memories of her past haunted her, and she worried about opening her heart fully. With Obina's patience and understanding, she slowly learned to confront her fears. He never pushed her beyond her comfort zone, allowing their relationship to develop naturally. As Chizy focused on her healing journey, she also became passionate about advocating for survivors of domestic abuse. She started sharing her story at local events, hoping to empower others and raise awareness. With every word, she felt a sense of liberation, knowing that her experiences could inspire change. Chizy found purpose in helping others find their voices. With Obina by her side, Chizy launched a community art project to raise awareness about domestic violence. They collaborated with local artists to create powerful murals depicting stories of strength and resilience. The project garnered attention and sparked conversations within the community, shining a light on an often taboo subject. Chizy felt a sense of pride in contributing to meaningful change. As they worked together on the project, Chizy and Obina grew even closer. Their shared passion for advocacy strengthened their bond, and they celebrated each milestone together. Chizy felt grateful to have a partner who supported her mission and understood the importance of healing. Despite the joy she found in her work, Chizy still had moments of doubt. Memories of Akuchi resurfaced, and she grappled with feelings of unworthiness. Obina noticed her struggles and encouraged her to lean into her faith. Together, they prayed for strength and guidance, reminding her of the love and support that surrounded her. The art project culminated in a community exhibition showcasing the powerful murals and stories of survivors. Chizy stood proudly next to Obina, surrounded by friends and supporters. The event was a celebration of resilience, and Chizy felt a profound sense of belonging. She realized that she was not alone. She had created a network of love and support. However, just when Chizy thought she had left the darkness behind, she received another message from Akuchi. His threats pierced through her newfound sense of peace, causing fear to creep back into her heart. Determined not to let him disrupt her life again, Chizy reached out to her support network, who rallied around her. With her friends' encouragement, Chizy reported the threats to the authorities. She knew she had the strength to confront her past head-on. With Obina's unwavering support, they faced the challenges together, knowing they were stronger as a team. Chizy felt empowered to reclaim her narrative, refusing to allow Akuchi to dictate her life. As the legal proceedings began, Chizy focused on her advocacy work, channeling her energy into helping others. She found solace in knowing that her journey could inspire change, and with every survivor she met, she felt a renewed sense of purpose, reminding her that she was a survivor, not a victim. Finally, the day arrived for Chizy to face Akuchi in court. Her heart raced as she entered the courtroom, flanked by her friends and family. She stood strong, ready to confront the man who had caused her so much pain. With her lawyer by her side, Chizy shared her truth, detailing the impact of his abuse on her life. After hearing the evidence, the judge ruled in Chizy's favor, issuing a restraining order against Akuchi. Tears of relief filled her eyes as she realized that justice had been served. Chizy felt a profound sense of closure, knowing she had taken a stand against her abuser. With the support of her community, she had triumphed over darkness. With a restraining order in place, Chizy felt a weight lifted off her shoulders. She embraced her newfound freedom, no longer burdened by the fear of Akuchi's threats. Chizy focused on building a life filled with love, laughter, and purpose. As time passed, Chizy and Obina envisioned a bright future together. With their love growing stronger, they began to discuss starting a family. Chizy felt excitement at the thought of becoming a mother, wanting to create a loving environment for their future children. Obina shared her dreams, and together they envisioned a beautiful family filled with love and happiness. They got married in a glorious ceremony in the presence of family and friends. A few months later, Chizy discovered she was pregnant. The news filled her with joy and anticipation, and she and Obina celebrated the new life growing within her. They prepared for the arrival of their child, attending parenting classes and decorating the nursery. Chizy felt a deep sense of purpose, excited to nurture and love their little one. When the day finally arrived, Chizy welcomed their baby into the world. The moment she held her child in her arms, a rush of love enveloped her. Tears streamed down her face as she looked at Obina, who beamed with pride. They had created a family, and Chizy felt a profound sense of fulfillment and joy. As new parents, Chizy and Obina embraced the challenges and joys of raising their child. They learned together, finding laughter in the chaos of sleepless nights and diaper changes. Chizy felt grateful for the support of her loving husband, who shared in every moment of parenthood. Their bond grew stronger as they navigated this new chapter together. Just when Chizy thought she had left the darkness behind, she received another message from Akuchi, threatening to destroy her new life. Fear washed over her, but this time she was prepared. Chizy immediately reported the threat to the authorities, bolstered by the support of her friends and family. She refused to let Akuchi's darkness seep into her life again. With her community rallying around her, Chizy felt a renewed sense of strength. She knew she was not alone in this fight. With Obina's unwavering support, they faced the threat together. Chizy refused to let Akuchi's words define her. She was a survivor and would not allow him to dictate her life any longer. Chizy worked with her lawyer to take legal action against Akuchi for harassment. They gathered evidence, building a strong case to protect her family. She felt empowered by the support of her friends and community, reminding herself that she had come too far to be intimidated by her past. As Chizy found herself preparing to face Akuchi in court once again, her heart raced with each passing day, but she was determined to stand strong. With Obina by her side, she felt a sense of empowerment, knowing she had a loving partner who believed in her. Akuchi's lawyer decided to settle out of court, promising that Chizy would never hear from him again. Akuchi paid her a big amount of money and she embraced her newfound freedom, no longer burdened by the fear of Akuchi's threats. Chizy felt a renewed sense of hope as she focused on her future. She and Obina dreamed of traveling and experiencing new adventures together as a family. With every step they took, they created a loving environment for their child, instilling values of compassion and resilience. In the years that followed, Chizy felt a sense of peace. She was no longer defined by her past, but rather by her strength and resilience. With each passing day, she embraced the love and joy that surrounded her, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Chizy knew that her journey was far from over, but she was prepared to face it with courage. With Obina by her side and a community of support, she felt unstoppable. She had emerged from the darkness, shining brightly as a beacon of hope for others, and she would continue to inspire change, one life at a time. Morals of the story: trust your intuition. Chizy's eventual suspicion of Akuchi and her courage to investigate saved her life. The story emphasizes the importance of trusting your instincts and questioning situations that feel wrong. Beware of appearances. Akuchi's seemingly kind and respectful demeanor masked his true intentions. This teaches the value of not judging people solely by their outward behavior and taking time to understand their character. Faith as a shield. Chizy's reliance on her faith and prayers during spiritual attacks highlights the power of spirituality and community support in overcoming life's darkest challenges. Evil plans backfire. Akuchi's sinister intentions ultimately led to his downfall, showing that malicious acts often have consequences and evil cannot triumph indefinitely. Courage in adversity. Chizy's bravery in escaping Akuchi and standing against spiritual attacks demonstrates the strength of perseverance and courage in overcoming challenges. The importance of community. Chizy's escape and recovery was supported by her church and faith community, illustrating the value of having a strong support system during difficult times. Evil cannot thrive in the light. The story underscores that truth and righteousness can expose and overcome even the most cunning forms of evil, as seen in how Akuchi's plans unraveled. The strength of resilience. Despite enduring manipulation, danger, and spiritual attacks, Chizy's resilience and determination to reclaim her life show the power of inner strength and perseverance. And that's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment below on what you learned from the story. Don't forget to also like, share with loved ones, and subscribe. It's free. Until next time, bye.